My God, man. My God, man. Me can't believe what me really are here. I can't show Mr. Butler talk. Because me hear like say, Mr. Butler is saying that Leon Bailey can somehow outdo Ronaldo, Messi, and even Kylian Mbappe. No, man. We have to give this some thoughts. Wait, my phone a ring, my phone a ring. We have a live show for the right away, no, man. How are you? Go answer that phone. We have a show for you, no, man. Hello? Yo, my boss, Wagwan, man. Yes, man. Yes, man. It takes a lot to influence a person, man. It just takes the right person to do so. Influence. In the game of football, it takes strong conviction to change the mind of someone. And when you want for a player to represent your club or even your country, there has to be some level of connection, or there should be something special about you to influence that person. The Jamaica men's national team finished third in the CONCACAF Nations League, and boy, it is absolutely a delightful feeling. However, there is still the news that Jamaica is still chasing a Mason Greenwood. But there is somebody who could possibly be the influencer of bringing across Mason Greenwood to play for Jamaica. And today, on the 26th of March, I want to speak about Deshaun Bernard's influence on Mason Greenwood's decision to represent Jamaica. So make we see. Wagwan. Welcome on board to Premier 7 yet again with your host Ryan Nelson. And it is always a good feeling to be here on board to bring you the news. And as you can see, there is an upgrade to the channel where you're seeing my logo in place of the StreamYard logo. I hope you all are doing well because I am doing well myself. And there is a news that is trending in Jamaica, and I have to come across with the details, as I'm here to present the details on how Deshaun Bernard's influence on Mason Greenwood's decision to represent Jamaica. In what terms can Deshaun Bernard influence a Mason Greenwood to represent Jamaica? Well, as you can see, I am wearing the Manchester United's jersey. That brings across the ideology or the truth that both players are of Manchester United's academy. I mean, a lot of you did not know that, but I am here with the details to present on the topic. Of course, as you can see here, before I go more into the show, I have 1,297 subscribers. And of course, I would like for you to do me a favor in subscribing to the page, share the video, commenting, and also let me know what you think. All right, so there was a post that was being done on the Instagram page of Mr. Deshaun Bernard, and it basically draw a lot of attention, whereas persons are saying that this could be the moment whereas Mason Greenwood could be drawing closer and closer to play for Jamaica. We understand that it is already in the pipeline for months now that Jamaica is trying to get across a Mason Greenwood. But it is like a seesaw, up and down, hot and cold. But I spoke about the influence that Deshaun Bernard can have on a Mason Greenwood because both players are from the Manchester United's academy. So, with no further ado, let me just show you the details right now. And this was a post on Mr. Bernard's Instagram page, for which I follow him myself. So he said that proud to be Jamaican and the heart, to make history with the national team, and to win my first international medal is a special moment for me. Overall, another step in the right direction for us, right? And this is what stood out. This is what many Jamaicans saw and say that, oh my God, Mason Greenwood has made a comment. He said, love it with the heart. So he placed a heart there. Let me drop a like as well. This is a strong signal, possibly, because even though it may not be that strong, a simple post or a simple influence can result in something massive. And Deshaun Bernard and Mason Greenwood, they have that connection. Without no apology, not only myself would be happy to see Mason Greenwood playing for Jamaica, even the players on the pitch would be highly happy that he more so should be the possible option in bringing forth. And if Mason Greenwood can come in, then of course other players will follow. And we all know the names already, like the Gibbs White, and the list goes on. All right, so in regards to such statement, what do you think about the post that Mason Greenwood liked, right? Do you think that it will basically play with the mind of Mason Greenwood to say that, all right, since I am not getting a chance to even play for England in the friendlies and I'm not selected for Euros, Jamaica is knocking on the door quite hard and they're opening up their arms for me to come and represent. Well, it is all up for grabs. And I would love for Mason Greenwood to play for Jamaica. But beyond that, I am speaking about the influence that Bernard can have on Mason Greenwood. And before I even go more into such, let's just have a look on something brilliant that he did for Jamaica in the past days.
Still thinking about it. Couldn't find the space in the end, but it's played in nicely. Chance for the shot. Oh, it's crept in. Deshaun Bernard scores for Jamaica. It's his first international goal for his country.
His first international goal for the country. And it could be his first signing for the country. You can call him Mr. Agent Bernard. Because when I looked on the fact that he scored his first goal for Jamaica, he was so happy, he was excited. And for a person who wasn't born in Jamaica, but is of Jamaican descent, and is coming in the country to represent on numerous occasions, it shows that we have a leader. And where it is better to have a leader than to even have them at the back line. He's a strong source in terms of the defensive mechanism of Jamaica in going forward, And by way of that, I believe that having a Deshaun Bernard leading the back line for Jamaica, his influence on the English based players could be something of high expectation. Because what he posts on Instagram could attract a lot more persons to say that this is the right place to be, representing Jamaica. Because when you're playing for Jamaica, you will have that chance to have your own mark and to create your own history. All right, so in that case, the influence that he can have on Mason Greenwood, it will take for Mason Greenwood himself to make up his own mind. But the thing is, with Deshaun Bernard knowing Mason Greenwood more than anyone else in the Jamaica setup, the psychological impact that this guy can have on Greenwood will be higher ceiling to that of others. Because in common sense saying, if you know me quite well and you want to say, all right, let's go and play some football at the ball ground. And for example, my mind wasn't made up to go. Because you know me quite well and because you know how much I love the game, you will try to find a way to convince me. For example, you can say, all right, boom, let's go to the ball ground, and coming to the ball ground, I will try my best to help you to score some goals. Because I like to play up front, even though I am more so a defensive player. Playing up front will give me that different thought in mind to say, all right, let's see what can happen. That is an influence. So that is just a small example. I am showing you that having a similar connection with somebody that can lead you to do something that you may not want to do, but you may do it thereafter. All right. So if you don't believe me then that Mr. Bernard was an academy player at Manchester United, then this clip, this tape will prove otherwise and to convince you that the truth is being said. Let's have a look.
Hey, good, go. Go on, but let's go. Finish the shot, Greg. Go on, but let's go. Finish the shot, Greg. Good, there. There. Good, up. There. Good, up. Stop, stop.
All right, so that shows you that Mr. Bernard was an academic player for Manchester United, and that shows that he have the basic understanding of defending, as you could see in the clip or the tape, as what Mr. Vegas would say. So in that case, let's have a small look on Mr. Bernard's profile and do a little statistical analysis to see how well he's performing right now in his career. So Mr. Bernard is currently 23 years old and he's in the championship. He's in the championship. He's not at Manchester United at the moment. He's in the championship. So with no further ado, we're seeing that 74% starting 11, 75% in terms of minutes, 7% goal participation, 30 games played. That is a lot of games. And you can realize that by way of the representation here for Mr. Bernard, it shows that he has the energy, the tank to play the game more than just an hour. Right? And that is absolutely beautiful to note because he's playing in the championship for Sheffield Wednesday. The championship, you basically will be playing more than 30 games for the one season, a lot of games. And for Mr. Bernard to be moving from Manchester to a different club and maybe go to a different club, then that shows that his mentality isn't shabby. It shows that he's a person who will adapt to different changes and to see how well he can move forward in making better progress of his career. All right, so let me just walk you through some details on Mr. Bernard because before in 2017 he was a youth player at Chelsea. Fresh thoughts to you again, right? Or fresh knowledge. Then after that, he was purchased by Manchester United 2017 to 2019. He stayed there for more than 2 years. He did not receive any game for Manchester United in the senior team, so he was sent on loan to Salford City, where he played 30 games. 2020 to 2021, he played for Salford City on loan and he scored 2 goals. Thereafter, 1 year loan at Hull City where he played 26 games, right? And to Portsmouth, 10 games. And now 2024 is currently now at Sheffield Wednesday. So it is showing you that most of his times was at Manchester United, but he was on loan spells, playing for different teams in the championship. And that proves to show that his mentality isn't shabby. Some players to move from one club to the next one, it can significantly break their concentration. It can simply break their interest. And maybe that can just let them say, all right, I'm not going to play for the club of my dreams, then might as well just stop playing football. And that is not the case of Mr. Deshaun Bernard. So even though he's on loan at Sheffield Wednesday, he's still trying to play his best of his best games. And based on that, we see the results that Mr. Bernard is reaping here when he's playing for Jamaica. And being an agent, he could definitely get a chance to say, Mason Greenwood, come man, come play for Jamaica. And Jamaicans would love that. All right. So, in that case, players have their strengths and their weaknesses. And without a doubt, I believe that Mr. Bernard have his own weaknesses. But before I go into such details, I will just give me a second, please. Yes, sorry about that. So I was basically saying before I speak about the strengths and weaknesses of Mr. Deshaun Bernard, I want to just give some recognition to the different positions that he plays. And we know that Mr. Bernard is known for being a centre back, right? But I know that he can play at right back. And we saw that in the back three for Coach Al Grimson, Mr. Bernard played in that back three on the right hand side. He's very reliable in regards to his defensive capabilities. His tackling isn't bad based on my observation, and his passes to his teammates on the ground or aerial is commendable. So he can play centre back on either positions though, but he's mainly known for playing on the right hand side or playing in a back three, sometimes even as a right back. All right. So in that case, I just want to dive into the strengths and weaknesses of Mr. Deshaun Bernard because Mr. Bernard is that type of player for which we have to speak about. And before I do so, I have to give a shout out to Cheryl Edwards, who sent some thumbs up and some balls. Big supporter of Premier 7. I appreciate that comment and I appreciate you in regards to supporting the channel at all times. And of course, one of the men who is top notch on the channel, Mr. Drew Ross, aka Drew Fortis. Up. Big up yourself, my general. You say Drew Fortis. Is it a case of which you are a Kingston College student or a KC fan? Because Fortis represents KC. So I am assuming that you're watching the champs at the moment. If it is finished already, I think KC has won it again. But anyway, respect for the comments, people. All right, so let's go and look into the strengths and weaknesses of Mr. Deshaun Bernard. His strongest point so far, as you can see here, is that his level of concentration is strong. And that is what I was saying earlier on, relating to the fact that he has been moving from clubs to clubs. He still represent the clubs to the best of his ability and wear his badge with pride. That simply proves that Mr. Bernard is that type of person who Jamaica can rely on to play in the back line. And can we rely on him based on his level of concentration to convince Mason Green to come and play for Jamaica? That is still something for which we want for him to at least try to do more. All right, so he said that Mr. Drew Fortis said, past student, champs finished, bro. Oh, so champs is finished. KC won it, right? KC has won it. I assume so. Because I have some KC friends in my contact. And I saw a few posts by them as well, and it seems as if Kingston College, you know, rock the world. So hats off to you, the Kingston College runners. All right. So concentration is a strength for Mr. Bernard, and for the weakness that he has, it is a case of passing. Well, he's improving, so we won't judge him too much in regards to not being the best passer of the ball. But watching him on a consistent basis these days, passing isn't that much of a weakness for him. I am seeing where he tackles more though than how he passes the ball. Because basically based on his style of play, he likes to play short passes. And to me, that is something for which Jamaica should take into consideration. The short passes. When you're making short passes, you're building up position. When you're making short passes, you're giving your team options to switch. When you're making short passes, you basically will need to have that level of fitness though that can bring out the opposition team to come at you, but because of your skill set, your passes will break them down and then you can go forward. I don't want for Jamaica to be playing any form of counter football or any long football. Not to say that that will not happen, but it is too common. And in modern days, we're not seeing for which teams, top teams like the Manchester City, like the Liverpool, yeah, that much Man, you now playing a good football. No? But teams of such, even Spain, even France, Brazil, those teams are playing possession based football, making good passes, not the long ball. Leave the long ball to England because England have what it takes to do so, but Jamaica doesn't have the quality to play long ball. And I'm not saying that long ball doesn't work in the people, but I don't like the fact that Jamaica is playing long ball. We are improving where it is concerned with playing a higher line, right? With a back three, dropping a Lembikisa in the midfield with the 3-4-3 formation. It shows that Jamaica is progressing. And Coach Al Grimson, I applaud you for your work. So if we're going to go back to a long ball type of football, then it will be basically something that will not make any sense because then again, why trying to play the right sort of football for modern days and then you go back to something that doesn't make any sense? Why reverting, right? All right. So in that case, I was speaking about Mr. Bernard's style of play, and he likes to dribble as well. We can see that, and he commits fouls often. He's a defender, but he will commit fouls, but his intelligence and his understanding of the game is improving. Remember, he's just 23 now. So for him to be playing for Jamaica and playing at different clubs and playing so many games, it shows that Mr. Bernard is reliable. All right. So in that case now, what do you think about Mr. Bernard? What do you think about Mr. Bernard? All right. So um Mason Greenwood, Mr. Bernard made this post. You add a like to it. What's in the mind? What's in the mind? Will you be coming across the waters to play for Jamaica? Because, if you are confused, then this song is for you to look into, and then maybe your decision will change.
What is your purpose in life? What is your purpose in life? Life. Break it down, yeah. As I wake up in the mornings, I give praise to the Father. Because if it wasn't for Him, I would be dead and gone. Life is something that we should appreciate, despite of the negative things that surround us in this world.
All right. So, as you can hear, Mr. Mason Greenwood, life is something that we should appreciate, despite of the negative things that surround us in the world. What that is basically saying is that you have went through a bad spell in regards to decision making, and your career was, you were like the wonder kid, right? But things went wrong. You received the opportunity to play now in La Liga at Getafe. You're impressive. Still sagas going around as to whether or not you'll be still be that person to come back and represent Manchester United. But possibly you may not. Something happened and I have to just come by this um thing and just to finish up the video. Right? So Mr. Mason Greenwood, possibly you may come back at Manchester. But is it a case of which you'll ever get a chance to play back for England? The ball is in your court. And Mr. Bernard can influence you as much as he can, but you may not make the rightful decision. But to me, I would implore you to make the switch because Jamaica is open up to bring you in. And with the impact that you can have alongside those who are already here, that impact can be done to bring in other persons to represent. So, as you can see, I had some technical issues, but I remain on point and remain consistent in delivering the topic for the fans. Follow the footsteps. So, it's now my time to go. Take care and goodbye.